And hey everyone, welcome to Doc W Trades this morning. It is April 1st, 2026, April Fool's Day. I don't know. I don't have much. I don't have any April Fools for you today. Sorry. What I think is cool though is that we have a NASA launch coming up tonight. I think the actual launch date, launch time, is for 6:24 in the evening, and they're gonna launch our. I think it's called. Let me make sure I have this right. Let's see, what's it called? It's called. Artemis. It's called Artemis 2. And they're going to launch tonight and send 3 Americans and 1 Canadian around the moon for the first time. First time that people have been to the moon since 1972. And this launch will have the first African American to go to the moon and the first woman to go to the moon. So I think that's pretty cool as well. But one of the person is Canadian. Ugh, that's what's bothersome. They should have only people from the United States fly to the moon. I don't know how they got a Canadian there. I don't know. Anyways, I'm just joking around, but yeah. So they're gonna have that launch to the moon, and this is this next step. This is the next step in getting to Mars and going to Mars. So they had, I can't remember how to pronounce this. Artemis, and Artemis 1 launched from Kennedy Space Center 2022, and then basically it launched and then went into orbit and came back and went around the Earth and then came back. Artemis 2 now is with people that go to the moon, and then the spacecraft will go around the moon, and then they do a free return trajectory back to Earth. And then basically it's a stepping stone for the next Artemis launch, which is they're actually going to go around the moon and dock with another spaceship, just like they did in Apollo. So they dock with, like they did in Apollo, they docked with the Aquarius space ship, and then they landed on the moon. So Artemis is going to dock. Artemis 3 is they're going to dock with another ship, and that sets up for Artemis 4 in 2028, where they're going to actually land on the moon. And then I think Artemis 5 and Artemis 6, which will happen towards the end of the decade and maybe in the 30s, they will actually launch a ship that goes to Mars and then goes around Mars, and then another one, Artemis 7 or 8, they'll have humans that will go to Mars and then come back. And the process of going to Mars and landing on Mars and coming back is starting now. So I think that's pretty cool. So anyways, all that said, let's take a look at the markets. As you see, I have the NASDAQ futures on the screen. I had the S&P futures on the screen a little earlier. And as you see, we're bouncing back. Trump had a tweet that came out earlier this morning, basically saying that there's going to be no deal until the Strait of Hormuz is dealt with and open again. And there can't be a deal to end the war unless they fix the Strait of Hormuz, basically saying that unless it is open and free for ships to go through, there's not going to be an end to the war. And that tweet came out, or post, whatever you want to call it, and the S&P and NASDAQ futures have been selling off ever since. Basically, ever since then, we've basically been in the red. And even though over the past couple minutes we're bouncing back, as you see here, a little bounce back. The S&P's traded down to 65.90. Now we're at 66.02, 66.02 and a half. Those bars, as we're bouncing back, I zoom in here, these bars, as we're bouncing back, are red bars. So that means that you're not getting any natural buyers. You're not getting an uptick in price with an uptick in volume, which are natural buyers. So the bounce can't be trusted. And these are my custom made candles and bars that I use. And as I speak, you see the bounce is kind of giving up the ghost here, and we're giving back some ground as I speak. We take a look at the NASDAQ, same thing here. You see this pullback since the tweet, and there's a little bounce. There's a little move here, and then the market continued to go down, and we got a bounce just for a few minutes before I came on live, and we're giving up the ghost. But we're not seeing green bars on these bounces. That's not aggressive buying. That's not natural buying. That's just a short covering rally. So it can't be trusted. You're not getting that increase in volume. You're not getting that up thrust in momentum. So the bars, they go higher, but they're not green. So I'll go back to the S&P. One thing that sticks out to me looking at all my screens is crude oil. Yes, it's down today, which is great. We saw that big down move over yesterday. Here's that big down move on the announcement that that I basically said that Iran wants to end the war, and got a bounce back towards the end of the day and overnight. And then we got another big move down overnight in crude oil. So early in the morning, crude oil was traded around $103 a barrel, but basically around 2 o'clock Eastern time, we had a huge move down, and we moved from $103 a barrel to $97 a barrel, which subsequently was very bullish for stocks. Here we look at the S&P, we see a big move right around 2 o'clock. We go back to crude oil, and you see this big move down. We have bounced back, and we're back above $100 a barrel, that key psychological level at $100 a barrel. And, stocks are starting to give back some ground as we've had a rally in crude oil since about 8 o'clock this morning. So that's the market that we have. We have a new post from Trump saying that Iran needs to open up the Strait of Hormuz for there to be a deal. Even though Iran wants a deal, evidently. And crude oil has continued to go down for the most part, and it is just now recently bouncing higher above 100. And the S&P and the NASDAQ are up today, but they've given back some of the ground as crude oil has traded higher. So basically, that's the market as we go towards the opening bell. If there's anything else that sticks out to me as we go towards the opening bell. Interest rates are higher today. Take a look at the TNX as it's at 43.11. That's basically 4.3%. So as you can see, it closed yesterday at 43.11. It's at 43.30 today. So that's 4.33% versus being at 4.31%. So the 10-year interest rate is up a bit today. The 5-year interest rate's up a bit today. As you can see, the 5 years at 3.96% versus being at 3.945%. So it's up a bit. So both the 10-year and the 5-year interest rate are up a bit. Now, what is good as we go to the opening bell is the VIX is down. As it closed yesterday at 25.44, it's at 25.01 in the pre-market right here, as you see. And it closed yesterday at 25.44 yesterday. So it is down a little bit. That's good. We look at the VIX futures contract. That gives us a much better view of the VIX because the VIX futures contract is a tradable product. The VIX is just a calculation. It's basically 30-day. It's a calculation of the 30-day S&P 500 implied volatility. The VIX futures actually trade. The market it's a market that has buyers and sellers that trade it. And so looking at the VIX, it's up a bit from the lows, but it is down on the day as we're down 32 cents, down a little over 1% as we head into the opening bell. So let's go back around. The dollar is down a little bit. Yeah. So I don't know exactly what that means. Just it means that with everything going on, other currencies are higher and the dollar is a bit lower. And they're moving into more money's moving into assets like gold and silver and out of the dollar this morning. So gold and silver are up a bit today, but still well off their highs. And let's go back to the markets that really matter in this market that we're in. The markets that matter in this market, whatever that means. And crude oil is above 100. We really need crude oil to go below $100 a barrel and stay down below 100. If crude oil sticks and stays above $100 a barrel, it's just going to make it more and more difficult for stocks to go higher. And as far as stocks are concerned, we had a nice rip your face off rally yesterday. And it's very possible that this is a bottom here, at least for the short term. This could easily be a bottom. We may retest that low later on this year at some point, but for now, this could be a bottom with this vicious rip your face off rally that we had yesterday. However, this rally that we had yesterday means absolutely nothing if we don't get follow through today. If we do get follow through today, an up move with a move that is over 1% for the day, and you get strong volume and aggressive buying in all stocks, you get that pure follow through day, then this rip your face off rally that we had yesterday is quite possibly, very highly likely at the bottom for the foreseeable future in the market. And we are now open today. We are now trading. Let's see what's going on We've got some really nice tape action right off the opening bell. Lots of stocks trading in the green. Like that. Just looking at my positions this morning. I still don't have a lot of interest in buying any call options in individual stocks right now. Maybe probably more interest today than I had yesterday, but nothing sticks out to me. Nothing really screams out to me. I like how Vertiv Holdings is up nicely today. It's up close to 3%. That's the one stock that sticks out to me. It's up nicely today. NVIDIA is up nicely today. But it's off its highs of the day. Now you have a red candle. Uh-oh. So we could easily have NVIDIA reversed and go down. You can't have a follow-through day if you don't have NVIDIA up. Not going to happen. You need follow-through with that rip-your-face-off rally. And I think a big part of what caused the rip-your-face-off rally yesterday was not just the news. It was also the fact that the market was so oversold. So the combination of the market being so oversold with the positive news from Trump's tweet post, whatever you want to call it, that caused the rip-your-face-off rally. And now that you had that rip-your-face-off rally, you need that follow-through. And let's see, I want to check something right here. So NVIDIA trading higher. I took a look at Vertiv. It's trading nicely. Let's take a look at Micron. That stock took a beating over the past couple trading sessions, but is starting to gain momentum to the upside. We like that. That's good, especially when you own a lot of shares like I do. And another stock that's just like Micron is SanDisk. It's trading up nicely. But what I did want to look at is I wanted to take a look at the volume for S&P. I wanted to check that, and so far today, 400,000 contracts have traded in the S&P. That's very good for this time in the day, just after the opening bell. The fact that we have 400,000 contracts traded is very positive. And the fact that we have 400,000 contracts traded and we're trading higher is very positive. One stock that sticks out to me that I don't like, with everything else green, but is red, is BE, Bloom Energy. With all the other AI stocks green on the day, I don't like the fact that Bloom Energy is down. Now, it had a big move yesterday, so that's good. But the fact that it's actually negative, slightly negative, but still negative nonetheless, I don't like that. Another stock, everything's green except for Bloom. Spotify's down. Yeah. I'm not gonna be trading this stock anytime soon. I do like Micron's action. I may go in and buy some calls in Micron. What the hell, right? I didn't trade at all yesterday. It's Wednesday. I haven't really made any trades. And sometimes and I like the tape action of Micron right now. It's up 13. It's oversold. It's up 4% on the day. Other stocks that are in its cohort, like Western Digital and SanDisk, are up 4 and 5% on the day. I'm going to go in and I'm going to buy. I'm looking at the April 10 expiration on another screen, and I'm looking to buy the. I'm looking to buy the 350 calls on the April 10th expiration. They go for about $17.20. And I may go slightly in the money because volatility is so high. I'm actually going to buy a little bit more expensive option, and I'm going to buy the 347 calls. And I'm trying to pay 810. Let me see. I'm trying to get a good price here, but it's hard because that Micron's moving. Let's see if I can get a fill for. Let's see. Work in the order. And I just got filled. So I bought the 347 calls for, and I paid $18.85. So I'll take a look at that on this screen here. The April 10th expiration here. And I like to buy the at the money calls, or very close to at the money. And I went in a little bit in the money and bought these calls right here. And I paid $18.85. So that was this is the trade that I made right here. So I bought those calls, as you can see right there on the screen, in Micron. So there you go. That was my trade right there. And if I have a chat room service or something in the future, that would be what the trade that I would make. And if you can't afford those calls, you could buy a call spread by buying the. You could buy the 352 expiration, or you could buy the 355 expiration. And these calls cost about $15.60. And then you can look and sell one of these options out of the money, close to the 30 delta. You can probably sell this call here, the 375 calls close to the 30 delta, and you can collect about $7.55. Now, what's really cool is that if you buy that spread, and we could go here, and you see here, scroll down to vertical, and you can buy the 355 and then sell the 375 here. That spread will cost about $7.75, and you pay $7 and maybe a little more, maybe about $7.80 to $7.84. But that you could buy that spread, and the maximum value of that spread is the width of the spread, which is $20. 375 minus 355, that's $20, and that's the maximum value of that spread that you could make. And you pay only $7.85. And the fact that you are paid less than $10 for the maximum amount of $20 on the spread, that is your edge right there. So you do have a quantifiable edge if you buy that spread. So that is an example of how you can make money with an edge with options by buying that vertical call spread right there at Micron. $20 for the width of the spread, which is the max value of the spread, and you're paid, much less than $10. You're paid $8.31 now. But earlier, as I was showing on the screen, you could have paid $7.80 for it. So Micron is moving up. We'll go back to the charts, and it's got a lot of momentum, and I love how it gapped up, and you're getting this move to the upside. Now let's take a look at the Micron options statistics. You see here, we go down to the options statistics here, and you can see how there's 61,000 calls being traded. And all this is on the trade tab on Thinkorswim, just so you know. 61,000 calls being traded to only 20,000 puts, which is very strong. and you have about 29% of the calls being traded at the ask, being bought, and only 14% of the calls are being sold, traded at the bid. And 13% of the puts are being bought, but 27% of the puts are being sold, which is very bullish when puts are being sold. So you have a majority of the calls being bought and a majority of the puts being sold. That's very, very bullish. When you have puts being sold and calls being bought, and then you look at the chart and you're like, oh, look at all that green. That's all very bullish. So I like my trade. We'll see if it works out. And I'm also fundamentally bullish on Micron, and I'm long-term bullish on Micron. So everything lines up for me. And I also like to trade Micron as an individual stock because it trades very, very, very easily. It's a very, very liquid stock. It was a popular stock to be traded back in the 90s when people traded on the floors of the exchanges and in the trading pits in Chicago. They loved trading Micron, and ever since, the stock has always been very liquid. It's a very tradable product. The old saying is it trades like water. So not just being a fundamentally strong company, it's also a fantastic stock to trade. And the only thing that would make it better is if they split the stock soon. Now, the stock traded at a very low price, around $50, $60, $70, $80, $90 a share for some time. And with the recent shortage in memory from AI, from building the AI data centers, which is my bullish thesis behind the stock has just ripped. I mean, the stock has gone from $90 a share up to being over $300 a share in like 6 months or something like that. And the stock has actually pulled back. It was up over $400 a couple of days ago. About a week or two ago, it was up over $400. We could zoom out here and take a look at another. Take a look at a bigger time frame here. Let's go back 30 days, 1 hour chart. Look, the stock got up to 470. And we've just had a nice pullback, and we're starting to get bought now. But the stock was up over $470 a share. So that's what's been going on with Micron, and I like buying this dip too. The fact that it's had this dip and now we're bouncing off of the low that we made on Monday. I like that, and that's why I'm buying the call options. So if there's anything else, I took a look at Palantir. I like to trade Palantir a lot, but Palantir is now trading lower on the day. There's more and more stocks. I'm going to take a look at the Nasdaq futures. We're getting a big reversal here, a big red bar come in with the Nasdaq here. It's also in on the S&P as well. And if you look at when I look at the screen of all the stocks trading, I scroll down here and look at these stocks. There's a lot more red stocks than there was 10 minutes ago before I bought those Micron calls. Microsoft down, Netflix down, Snow down, Berkshire down. Let's take a look more. Let's take a look at other stocks. CrowdStrike's down, SoFi's down, MasterCard, Visa, and American Express are down. Stera Labs is down. Oracle's down. So there's a lot more stocks down now than there was, 10 minutes ago when there was only one stock down. So that's not good. You zoom in here. Take a look at the Nasdaq. That's a big, solid red bar on solid volume too. Big volume. Look at this. Over 5,000 contracts here. Over 6,000 contracts. Let's take a look at S&Ps. You see a big reversal, big red bar with a lot of volume. Ooh, over 20,000 contracts on that bar there. Not good at all. Whew. I'm going to hold on to my Micron calls for now, but if this take back continues, we have a little bounce. Oh, thank God. Oh, I can breathe. I can breathe. Oh. It's kind of like waiting for a woman to text you when you're in love with her and she doesn't text you. It's very nerve wracking. So, see if this green bar sticks. These buyers come in and bid up this market back to highs. I don't know if there was any news associated with that reversal or just algorithms. We don't know. I don't know yet. But it looks like we're starting. We're not really. The bounce isn't coming in. It's not holding. I'm gonna switch over back to Nasdaq. Yeah, we're not getting the follow through. We're not getting the bounce that we want. So this is not good. Palantir's now down $1. Micron's holding up, above 350. That's good. Up $12 on the day, so not too bad. GE Vernova is nice, doing very nice today. Up $28, up over 3%. So that sticks out to me. GE Vernova, also Vertiv, that sticks out to me. So if you want to buy some stocks that aren't really as actively traded and not talked about on the mainstream media, those two stocks stick out to me. And if you take a look at the longer term chart of these names, hold on, you get you got some really, really, really nice action. You got some nice chart. We take a look at the daily and the weekly chart here for Vertiv. It's right at the 20-day, right at a buy point. I really like that. So Vertiv looks really, really nice here. And also, would take a look at GE Vernova before we go back to the S&P. It's looking very, very nice here. It broke out above the 20-day, and it's making a charge towards the upper Bollinger Band and the previous swing high here at 948. So really looks positive here. You got a nice move here in the momentum. It's moving up, and the fast line of the 310 oscillator is moving up. The rate of change is moving up. And you see the slow line on the weekly chart, it's trending higher. So all that looks fantastic. Getting barraged with Texas right now. So hold on. So I'm going to go back here and show the NASDAQ, the S&P chart. Yeah, this tape action in the S&P and the Nasdaq is not looking too sharp here since the opening bell. Markets are really, really slipping here. I think that's the best term. They really are slipping. We were higher, now we're down. You see it in Netflix, you see it in Palantir, you see it in other names, Microsoft, Amazon, but not all stocks. GE Vernova's up, Micron, Corning's up, Vertiv is up. So a lot of the AI names are higher. going to zoom in here. We're going to zoom in here on the NASDAQ. Not looking too strong. The markets are slipping. I think that's a great term. It's the best term I have. I've given up some profits for the day. I've given up about a third of my profits that I had at the opening bell. So I've given about a third. So for every $100 that I made at the opening bell, I am up about $70 now for the day. And we're getting a bounce here in the NASDAQ and in the S&P. You can breathe! Yeah, so I like zooming in here on the Nasdaq at this point right now, watching this market trying to bounce, even though it was slipping. Uh, um, I like this bounce here, but will it stick? I don't know. Google's having a good day. It's really popping. So I showed Vertiv, I showed GE Vernova. Uh, Google is acting very strong today. We take a look at Google, very strong tape action today, near the highs of the day. And also, I kind of talked about it. I mentioned it. I'll show it on the chart here. Corning is having a fantastic day to the upside. Now, Corning is a stock that I like. I'd like to trade, and I'd like to buy calls in Corning, but it's not a very liquid stock like Micron is. Earlier, I discussed how Micron is a very tradable, easily tradable stock. The old saying is it trades like water. It's super liquid. You put in your order, and it gets filled very, very quickly. And it goes back to the days of the 90s where you had stock specialists and day traders like the SOS Bandits, Small Execution System day traders, and the pit traders would trade Micron. They love trading Micron, and that stock has always been super liquid. But if you look at a stock like Corning, I think it's a great stock to buy shares in, but it's not a good stock to buy calls or puts in. It's not a good stock to trade options in. Let's take a look at the options here. You see, look at this. Only 4,500 contracts traded, Corning. Okay. 2,900 calls to 1,500 puts. Okay. And we opened up the options, the April options that expired in 16 days. Look at these. Look at this. A 720 spread and a 925 ask. I mean, that's a huge spread. Very difficult to trade this stock. Because remember, when you buy an option, you have to pay the asking price. When you sell an option, you have to pay the bid price. Or when you sell an option, you'll collect what the bid price is. And there's a big spread there. Go back to Micron. Look at these. Look at the spread. Same thing. 17 April expiration. April 17th expiration. And these are like options that, the stock's a $350 stock. and you got, you know, 70-cent bid ask spread. It's pretty big. I mean, that's pretty, it's very much more liquid. And, you know, it's not like over $1. And it's a $350 stock. And you look at the options contracts, you know, there's over 150 options that are traded so far today on Micron. So that's decent. Now, is Micron the most liquid stock? No, but it's pretty liquid. It's good. It's nice. It gets the job done. Palantir is still down in the day, but it's bouncing back. Take a look here. It's down 78 cents. 78 cents. It's down, but it's bouncing back. Let's see if it could get above 146. And go back to NVIDIA, and it is trading up on the day, and it gave back a little bit as the Nasdaq and the S&P gave back some gains, but it is bouncing back here right at 175. I really want to see NVIDIA get above 180. That's a key level for me. I want to see NVIDIA get it back above 180. Now let's zoom back in and take a look at the indices, as it looks like they're getting a little bit of a bid here, but still off the highs of the day. So we'll see how this plays out. And Micron is making a charge now. Getting close to the highs of the day. So it had that pullback, and now it's getting it's making a charge to the upside. Very good. So far, my trade and buying calls in Micron is looking good. So far, those options are up by 8%. So I'm up 8% on those options. Now only 4%, 5%. So I'm up about 5 or 6% of those options, depending on what the bid-ask spread is. And those Micron calls that I bought are now trading for $20.43. So I purchased them for $18.85, and now they're at $20.43. So I'm going to hold on to them. And if you are trading a smaller account, you just want to buy options in the SPY or the NASDAQ. The fact that Micron's bouncing and NVIDIA's bouncing the way it is, and Palantir's bouncing, on my screen, Palantir just had some green bars, so that's a good sign. We like that. We like that. So that's a good sign. And I need to go to the bathroom. I don't know if other streamers, other content creators do this, but I am going to discuss it because it is a real thing. If you're a trader, there's sometimes when you want to be in front of the screens, but you just can't help it. You got to go to the restroom to take a pee. And that's what I need to do right now. I will be right back. And I'll leave you guys taking a look at the S&P 500. I'm back, baby. You know, I there's a lot of older people that guys that are like in their 70s or 60s, and they had a full-time career in something, and right around when they get to be about 65 years old, give or take, 60, 65, 70 years old, they retire, and they look for a second career. And options trading is always something. Day trading, options trading is always something that these guys get interested in, especially if they were really smart people and they ran a business and they're used to high pace action. They could get bored. Plus, they want to make money. And options trading and day trading is something that they get interested in. But what they also have to deal with is they're 65, 70 years old. They can't sit in front of screens without for more than an hour before they got to take a pee. And so, I'm in these trading rooms with, guys that are in this position. They're retired, they have an IRA, a 401k, they ran businesses in various industries and so forth. Some of them are retired doctors, architects, engineers. Some of them are like entrepreneurs, like former internet marketers and all this different stuff. And now they're 65, 70 years old. They got grandkids. They like to tinker around with charts, and they like to trade options and do all this different stuff. And they love building these systems, but they cannot stay in front of their screens for more than an hour before they got to get up and pee. So one of the older guys in a chat room, I think this was like 5 or 6 years ago, and this was one of these chat rooms where like they're all professional traders and you have to pay money for this chat room. He was talking to everybody. He's like, I built this trading desk, and it has this thing that I hooked up to it, and I can pee into this little box that's hooked up to my trading desk, so I don't have to get up and go to the bathroom all the time. And everybody was like, "Oh, that's so cool, awesome, man! That's so awesome! You should sell it." And I think the guy like sold this contraption that you hook up to a desk so you don't have to get up and go pee. And it was like the trading pee machine or something. And I've lost contact with this person. I don't know. I never met him in person. I just knew him from online. But I thought that was a hoot. It's a good trader story. He had the trading desk for old people where you could go and pee without getting up. I thought that was great. So he was like a former engineer. So he designed this contraption that hooked up to the desk where he could pee, and he didn't have to get up and get out of his desk so he could stay in front of the screens. And he traded options, and he also day traded the S&Ps or something like that. And he had been doing it for like 10 years, and he was 70 years old, and he like sold he had like a engineering business that he sold, and then he started trading. But I lost touch with him. I haven't talked to that person in years. But I love that trading story of building the desk for himself so he didn't have to get up and go pee. uh, Anyways, let's take a look at the S&P here. We're bouncing off of this low. So we had this pullback after the opening bell, but the way we're getting a bid in here is really nice. I like it. It's very constructive. Let's go look at the NASDAQ. Same thing. It's getting a bid here. We got some green bars, so we're getting some natural big buyers step in. We love that. And as I speak, I may be jinxing it because we got some red bars. I'm going to text my friend here, my trading buddy. So we'll go back to Micron. My calls right now are up by about 23%. We can go to the trade tab here on Thinkorswim. Go down to Micron. I bought that, it was 347 calls, 347.50 calls, and I paid $18.85. And right now they're trading for about $25. So I'm up about 28% now. So I'm still going to hold on to these calls for now. I like the tape action of Micron. I like how it's making new highs the way it is. Let's go back to the chart tab. And we see this nice move up in Micron. I love it. I think that I'll hold on to them until we get a red bar on this chart. That's my main indicator. At that point, once we get a red bar, then I'll start to noodle on, oh, should I take profits? Should I roll up the calls? That kind of stuff. But for now, I'm holding on to them. And ultimately, when you buy those calls that are at the money, you want to get those calls to be up over 100%. That's where you want them to be. But sometimes in specific markets, you can't do that. But optimally, you want to buy the at the money call that's a 50 delta. Okay, this is the game. You want to buy the at. I'm using the April 16 regular options as an example, but this applies to all expirations when you buy calls. Ultimately, I want to buy the at the money call that's a 50 delta. Okay, that's delta. And that delta is, whatever that delta is the probability of being in the money at expiration. So basically, you buy that 50 delta, and that 50 delta is at the money. So if you buy those options, it's worth 50 shares when you buy them. You got about a 50% chance of being in the money. Okay, so you got about a 50% chance, give or take, of being profitable or not profitable. And to make the dynamics and the probabilities work, I want to make optimally over 100% profit on those options. And so that means that 50 delta will go into being a 100 delta option at some point. I want to make 100% on those options. And I'm looking to lose no more than 50%. But because it takes so much for those options, for these 50 delta options to go to be close to 100 delta, to get that 100% profit, what I often look for is to buy the 50 delta, sell the 80 delta, and if the 50 delta goes to a 30 delta, I lose 20 to 25%. I cut bait and run. And if I make 50%, the 50 delta goes to so if the 50 delta goes to 30 delta, I lose 25%. I cut bait and run. If the 50 delta goes to, say, an 80 delta, I make 35%. I'll look to roll the call and stay in the trade. So that keeps everything equal from a probability standpoint. But when you buy those options, the key is to buy the close to at the money. And if you can't afford the at the money calls, buy a spread or don't trade it. But right now, my Micron calls are up about 24%, 25%. I want those to be up over 30%. Then I'll look to roll them. My account is back up towards highs of the day, which is good. That's good. And I need to sell some stock for someone in my family. They need some cash, and I need to sell some stock for them. Hi, boy. Just taking a look at Amazon here. Amazon has basically done nothing for like almost 5 years. Yeah, Amazon was at 187 5 years ago, and out of stocks at 211. It had a huge move after COVID, but basically since then it's not done much at all. So I'm looking to sell some shares in Amazon because it just hasn't done anything. There's a lot better stocks out there now. It was a big winner during COVID, but since then it really hasn't done much. It's up a bit, but it just hasn't done much. Compared to other Mag 7 stocks. So I'm looking to sell some Amazon shares. Anyways. Go back to look at the S&Ps. They're just bouncing around sideways here, not really moving. And Micron continues to go up. It continues to rip higher here. So far so good. And my options that I bought are now up 45%. So what I'm going to do is roll them up. I'm going to take my profits, but stay in the trade. And I'm rolling for a credit. So it's a way of staying in the trade and taking profits as well. I'm basically selling the 347 5 calls for $26.45, and I'm buying the 362.50 calls for $18 for a net credit of $9.16. So I'm still in the trade, but I am rolling up the calls to collect a credit and stay in the trade and have less money involved. It's a way of taking profits but staying in the trade. So now I own the 362.50 calls in Micron. So that is a way of staying in the trade, managing your profits, but not so you can take your profits and stay in the trade and not risk more, and not your risk doesn't build up too much. So that is a nice trade there. And the option that I rolled up to basically is the same price that I originally bought, just below. So the original call that I bought in Micron was I paid $8.85. Those April 10 calls that I now own, the roll up, are 362.50s. So those options cost about $19.05 now. Could probably get them for $18.90. So it's about the same price that I originally bought. So I made money that rolled up to the same price that I paid, and I'm still in the trade. And with Micron, this is just kind of a gut feel, but I'm rolling up a little bit to in the money. So a delta that is a little bit more than 50, just because I want more intrinsic money value. Because the volatility is so high, both in Micron and in the market. But if you want to roll up to the at the monies, the 365 or 367.50, be my guest. Especially if you have a spread, be my guest. And Micron continues to rip higher. Also, other stocks that are related to Micron are doing very well. I love that. Let's take a look at the Micron cousins, or their Micron's brothers and sisters. Western Digital ripping higher. Okay, Jabil Circuits, not super related to Micron, but it's in the AI sector. It's in hardware. It's in semis. It's moving nicely higher. AMD, same situation, not directly related to Micron, but in the same sector. AMD acting nicely. Let's take a look at some other names. Like I said, SanDisk up 11%. This stock is moving faster and higher than Micron. So Micron's up 9% on the day. SanDisk is up 10.8% on the day. SanDisk is your baby right there. If you want to go for it, go for SanDisk. The rule of thumb is go with the winner. I go with Micron because I know the stock better than I know SanDisk. But, for a trade, if I had to do it over again, you may want to go with SanDisk. just because it's moving more. It's moving higher, faster. Marvell up 8.5%. Same thing. Seagate up, and kind of related to Micron, but not related to Micron. It's in the AI area, but they do light and fiber optics. And glass is Corning, acting well. I've talked about that earlier today. Let's see what else. Now, Astera Labs. Ugh. This was a former big winning stock. Let me pull up the longer term charts here. Okay, so Astera Labs had a huge move up in 2024 and in 2025. Here, looking at the weekly chart, let's expand this chart here. Take a look at this. The stock had a huge run higher in 2024, and then it had a sell-off, and then it had a big run up in 2025. But it peaked in September 2025, right here, at about $260 a share. And since September of last year, this stock has just been going down and down and down. And, it's close to the lower Bollinger Band on the weekly. It's well below the 20-week moving average. This is a weekly chart, everyone. And it's just not, it can't get out of its own way. That's the old expression. It can't get out of its own way. And I keep looking for it to bounce. Let's take a look. Let's go to a shorter time frame. Let's look at the daily chart here. But still at the lower Bollinger Band, you can see the slow line on the 310 oscillator just continue to kind of trend down. Even now, it's still, the slow line, it kind of tries to get above the zero line, but it can't quite. And the longer term trend with the slow line is just lower and lower. The fast line for short term momentum is below zero. You can see on the rate of change, it's moving down. Lower highs, lower lows. And it's involved in AI. And what's interesting is you look at all the other AI stocks. And a really easy way to do that is to take a look at, you could take a look at the Cathie Wood stock fund. You can look at SMH. You can look at the Qs. These are all like easy way. You could look at the Mag 7. These are all an easy way of looking to see how the AI cohort is doing. And as you look at these charts, I'll go through them again. Mag 7, ARC. Cathie Wood was on CNBC this morning. Oh. She actually looks a lot younger than she actually is. I think it's because, when you're involved in the markets, it's not like a real job, so you kind of stay looking younger. So good for her. We take a look at Mag 7, we look at ARC. Let's take a look at, what do you see? You see these bounces. Yes, these AI stocks have sold off, but you see these bounces. QQQ. Even the SPY, you see these nice bounces, these big reversals in all these names. But we go back to we go back to Astera Labs. And you're not seeing that big reversal. It's not getting close to the 20-day. It's still making lower highs and lower lows. And I don't know what is going on with this, because this is a AI data center hardware play. And it just can't get out of its own way. So, you go back, we go back to the other, the chart, the main chart here. And we scroll down, look at this. We look at all these names. This is my main watch list here. We look at all these different, names on my list. And there's a lot of green. Spotify, that's a crappy stock. I may take that off the watch list, by the way. I always update my watch list frequently. But A-Labs sticks out. It's down still. And then you look at all these other, big AI stocks. Marvell, Seagate, Corning, Amphenol. Dycom, Callistica, GE Vernova, Credo, Vertiv, nuclear name, Cameco, the air conditioning, HVAC name, Fix, MP Materials, raw materials. All these stocks involved in AI, they're all up today. But Astera Labs is down, and it continues to be down. So, something's wrong with that stock, but I don't know exactly what it is. And this is why even when if you're a fundamental investor, you still need to look at the charts. We can take a look at Astera Labs fundamentals. That's an interesting idea. And hold on one second here. Let's look at the Astera Labs fundamentals. And I will pull up A Lab here and take a look at the fundamentals here on Astera Labs. And here we go. So here's FinViz. This is a fantastic website to look at fundamentals. And we look at Astera Labs here. You can see the chart, big, nice downtrend. And we scroll down and we take a look at the fundamentals here. And you see here, it's got a 0.86 peg. Look at the growth rates. Super high sales, super high earnings, over 340% EPS growth over year. EPS quarter over quarter up 62%, sales quarter over quarter up 91%. So you have huge growth here. Really nice growth. Next 5 years up 36%, up next year up 43%, pretty low forward PE of 30. Low debt. Take a look here. You can see the earnings, that increase. Look at that increase in earnings, man. From negative 51 cents to $1.22. Look at sales. Look at that big sales increase. We look at quarterly. Look at this nice steady line of growth. Look at those sales growth. Look at that. That's all fantastic. And the stock is well liked by the street as well. Price targets are all higher than where the stock is. Everything is very solid from a fundamental point of view. But you look at the performance of the stock here, and year to date it's down 34%. For the past half year, it's down 44%. You see that, and it doesn't look too good. So the stock is, not performing well, even though the fundamentals look great. So specifically with the sales. So something is wrong with the stock, and I just don't know what that is. So if you are a fundamental person and the fundamentals look great, but the technicals look bad, I always go with the technicals, and you kind of got to get away from that. You can't trust in the fundamentals unless the technicals validate the fundamentals. So as I speak here, I went off the beaten path talking about Astera Labs. I don't like the way it's acting, even though it has strong fundamentals, so I can't buy that stock. As I am talking, the stock market is ripping higher. As we see here, we have the NASDAQ close to highs of the day. Very nice. The dip was bought. The pullback from the opening bell was bought. And it's the stock, the NASDAQ's up over 1%, close to 1.2%, and the S&P is up 0.75% on the day. Very strong. For a follow-through day to happen, I think Investors Business Daily rules is that the market, the indices have to be up over 1%. So up 0.72% is not enough for a follow-through day to happen. And depending on who you talk to or what books you read, it looks like we need the S&P to be up more than just 0.68%. The volume is there in the S&Ps. Okay, the volume is there. The volume is there in the S&Ps. We've gotten 670,000 contracts, but we're not up big enough on the day. We're just not for our follow-through day. And if we don't get this follow-through, if we don't close above 1% in both the Nasdaq and the S&P, we don't get a follow-through day. And basically, yesterday's rip your face off rally means nothing. So, there's still a lot, even though I was very pleased by yesterday's tape action, this market's still very iffy. And, we were due for a rip your face off rally yesterday, but we did it. We're not getting the follow through today. And as we saw this morning, oil rallied and stocks pulled back very quickly on a simple post from Donald Trump. And the thesis yesterday, or the basic takeaway from yesterday's news, was that Iran wants to make a deal and end the war. And today, that whole narrative kind of changed, because the tweet from the post tweet, whatever, from Trump was that, no, we're not going to end the war unless you open the Strait of Hormuz. So I don't know how do I say this properly? I wonder if Trump fully understands or grasp exactly what the unintended consequences and the full dynamics that take place with how, yes, it seems like we have complete control of Iran, and the mainstream media doesn't report this, but we're doing big damage to their military. We've wiped out their navy, to their nuclear program. But I don't know if Trump himself fully understands the dynamics and the unintended consequences of what is happening, and how the real leverage, and really kind of probably the only leverage that Iran has, is the Strait of Hormuz. And when it comes to warfare, if you think about it from a chess point of view, like, you're backed into the corner, but you have one piece that could kill the other person's king. Are you just gonna push that one piece over and tap out? No, you're gonna use that piece as long as you can, until you just can't use it anymore. So, I don't know, and assuming that Iran doesn't just give up and lay over and not tap out with this leverage that they have with the Strait of Hormuz, I think that you can have some issues going forward, because the Strait of Hormuz is all they got, but the fact that the Strait of Hormuz could close could cause a lot of issues down the road. Higher oil prices are not just higher oil prices. It's gonna have an effect on the cost of so many things. There's so many things that are made from oil and petroleum. All 7 of my screens, they all come from petroleum. The microphone I use, the cables I use, the everything. I mean, your shoes, the 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 cups you have, the glasses you wear. I could go on and on. Anything that's made from glass comes from petroleum. So there's a lot riding here, and you could really have inflation take hold if oil prices continue to stay higher. Now, as I speak, and as I have this conversation, I think it would be, it would make sense to have crude oil on the chart. It is below $100 a barrel, and it has come off its highs from earlier this morning and yesterday. So that is all good. And the stock market's starting to pick up a bit as crude oil ticks down here. But, we're not out of the woods yet. That's my point. We're not out of the woods yet. Even though the tape action in the stock market is very good today, it was fantastic yesterday, we're not out of the woods yet. And the one AI stock that was down and now is up is Bloom Energy. We like that. Bloom Energy is upticking and rallying with the other AI stocks. And now the only real AI stock that sticks out to me that's down is Astera Labs. It's only down a little bit, but it is down. And Oracle. That is another AI stock that's down on the day. And if we take a look at the longer term chart on Oracle, that chart is crappy as well. So there are AI stocks that are down. Oh yeah, one more. I'll take a look at App Lovin. So take a look at App Lovin. This stock is down on the day. If we take a look at App Lovin, a bigger picture chart here, this longer term charts on App Lovin looks like crap. So there are some AI stocks that, even though almost all of them are coming back, a couple of them are not acting too well. And I'm looking at my Micron position here. Let me see here. It's had a bit of a pullback. And my new option is down about 6%. The option that I rolled is down about 6% right now. And it's pulled back a bit, but starting to pick up a little bit here. So I'm going to hold on to it for now, but I may close it out before lunchtime. We'll see. We will see. My account is up nicely on the day, near all-time highs for the day. The third of the amount of money, the third of profits that I gave back after the opening bell, I've made that back, and I'm up today. So we'll see what happens. Palantir's made back most of its losses, but still down in the day. And the main thing is that I want to see the S&P close above 1% higher on the day. The volume is there. It's up on the day, so generally the tape action is nice, and it's moving higher as crude oil kind of goes down. But I want to see the S&P up, close higher by 1% on the day. And we're just not there yet. You see right here, the SPY, it's up only 0.8%. I need it to be above 1% on the day. So, with all that said, I am signing off. I will talk to you all tomorrow. I'll try to live stream tomorrow as well, starting around 9 o'clock. Trying to make this my regular routine. And I was able to, I've been able to for the past few days, live stream and also able to do my normal job with looking at the market, trading, executing trades, managing positions, and even texting as well. So the logistics are in place so I can easily do what I have been doing before and talking to the microphone like a crazy person in addition to that. So that was what I was struggling with, is the ability to continue to do what I normally do, managing positions, making trades, watching the market, and also stream on top of that, so that the idea of creating content and trading, I wanted to do those all together seamlessly, which it looks like I'm able to do here, which is good. Let's take a look at. This is a layout of the major indices, 1 hour charts and 2 hour charts, and also individual stocks that I'm looking at. So this is an interesting layout. I like to look at this. You can see how S&P has had a nice bounce off the lows. The NASDAQ have had a nice move. And this swing down here in the NASDAQ and the S&P, right here. You can see it in the NASDAQ, you can see it here in the S&P. We need to get above these previous highs. So that this upswing is bigger than this downswing. If we could trade above these levels here, 66.84 on the S&Ps, and the level for the NASDAQ is 24,535 on the NASDAQ. That will confirm that we could go higher, because that shows that momentum is to the upside. Until we get above these key levels here, and here, we have not confirmed that the downside action is over. We don't complete a follow-through day. So with all that said, I'm signing off. Take care, everyone, and have a great day trading. Goodbye.